Loyalty Monster exists to help small businesses increase their customer loyalty and look big while doing it. The idea came from a very simple place. Just feeling really frustrated and kind of overwhelmed with the number of apps that I had on my phone and the number of notifications that I keep having to dismiss. But I just wanted to consolidate it all. It just felt too much to have like 10 different apps on my phone. I wanted one simple, easy to use interface where I could interact with all of the businesses. I thought my customer was perfect for bargain shoppers, people who wanted discounts or cashback programs. However, I really quickly learned that this might be my end user. However, it was not my customer. The customer needed to be business, people who already had a loyalty program. At least that's what I thought. It's very quickly turned out to be the wrong way. The reason being is because businesses already invested hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into developing a loyalty rewards program, the app, and then getting it onto their customer's phone. It just didn't make sense for them to hand over all of their customers to a simple startup that just wanted to consolidate all of the apps. I revised my assumption, but began to ask, who is my end customer? I did a deep dive of research into the loyalty market. I realized it was a very crowded space. There's probably over 100 plus competitors, each one having a just slightly different product. I still felt like that there was a good opportunity in the market, given that everything that was targeted to small businesses was a web-based solution. It was clunky, it was dated, and we are in a mobile generation. If all the big businesses are going mobile, it gives reason for small ones to compete. With my findings, I then returned to the lean business model canvas. I still really liked the idea of a wallet, but then shifted my focus to a new customer, small business, who had a different set of needs. They wanted to be mobile, but couldn't afford it. They still needed all the value proposition that came with a loyalty campaign of increasing revenue, but needed to do it in a more cost-effective and simple manner. They also wanted access to communication and marketing channels. The solution then became Loyalty Monster. I began to connect with business owners here in the Provo area. A lot of these names you might recognize, like each of these assigned a letter of intent, agreeing to help me with the customer discovery process. These businesses were able to provide super valuable feedback as I iterated through different versions of the wireframe. The very first one was kind of this social media activity feed layout, which turns out it brought absolutely no value to the businesses at all. They quite frankly didn't care for it, but I thought it was super cool. From there, I focused strictly to a wallet-based approach, which had a great layout, but in order to make it more presentable, we revised it a third time and added bigger emphasis to what we call Monster Coin. We also learned that the profile needs to be super simple and easy to manage for the business. I wanted that the merchant profile is no more complicated to set up than, say, like a Facebook page. I received a lot of great and early feedback from these businesses. Emphasis again touched on like the importance of loyalty campaigns. With that type of feedback, I felt confident that I had a product that I could monetize, something that I could sell. So I figured that distribution channels would be, a standard sales team or traditional digital marketing. But as I networked with people in the marketing space, I learned about these really cool people called referral partners. Upon returning to the business model canvas, there was another box that was left to be filled, and that's the unfair advantage. What makes us 10x better than the next competing alternative, and why we'd be able to dominate the market. This line of questioning led us to a cool feature called Monster Coin, an extra in-app incentive that would gamify the entire ecosystem. Users would be able to redeem Monster Coin for app-wide sweepstakes, and because we'd be able to onboard all of these businesses, we could offer bigger prizes at scale. When we'd compare ours to other competing products, the competitors were self-contained, isolated solutions, while ours was an open, ready out-of-the-box software. And most importantly, it provided us with a network effect. If done successfully, a network effect would be something that other competitors in the loyalty market couldn't achieve easily at all. And that left me with the next question. How do I build it? Or what's the next step? I'm not a technical co-founder, so I began to reach out to development firms to get their idea. And that's about where I hit a wall. Turns out building a project like this is very expensive. And the price tag was pretty killer. It would cost anywhere from $150,000 to $300,000 just to get to a first product, which was super discouraging to hear. So I figured, if I kept onboarding additional clients, I would be able to raise capital and then maybe go from there. But while I'm in school, it was just really difficult to find the time to run an effective sales pipeline. Mentors advised me to just look back on all the feedback I previously received. What product feedback have I not been listening to? And that led me to create this consolidated list. And I came with a lot of key takeaways. Businesses want to eliminate every point of friction of the customer experience. Downloading an app before they come in just isn't realistic. A percentage of their customers aren't likely to download the app. Businesses just don't want extra hassle in their operation. It needs to be simple and easy to use. And if it's not providing, 10x the value, it's not worth it to them. The other point was that businesses want to own the customer experience. They don't care for their logo being next to the logo of another business down the street. I thought that being able to create this network effect and this special ecosystem in the app could overcome a lot of these criticisms. Or what I didn't want to admit early on is that the unfair advantage is only effective if I have critical mass, which leaves me with a very serious chicken or the egg problem. And it's a very expensive chicken or the egg problem. I couldn't onboard businesses without app users and app users without ready businesses. So I was back to the drawing board and I needed an absolute minimum viable product, something that I could very quickly bring to market in a cost-effective manner to prove buyer readiness. The solution was focusing on one feature, QR codes. With 3 hours of development, I was able to mock up an MVP in WordPress where a customer would scan the QR code with their phone and entering the business. It would take them to a web page for the location. They'd enter their phone number, maybe some additional contact information, and then they'd receive points. Building out this MVP was super easy. It cost $5 to buy the stand, print out a copy, and then I was off to the races, meeting with other businesses and showing them my demo. In just 3 days and maybe like 8 hours of sales work, I was able to acquire 4 new clients, which pretty much doubled my pre-existing clients. Each of these businesses has committed to test the product during a 2-month free trial phase. We set an expected price point about $25 a month on a recurring basis, and we have an additional 3 businesses pending to be added. The Loyalty Monster solution was no longer a wallet or an app, but instead a QR code-based reward system. What was also cool is that the cost structure changed dramatically. Instead of spending 6 figures to get to a first product, at most it would take a week's worth of development to be able to bring a product to market. And from there, I'd be able to iterate and scale it. We have a few key metrics that I'm super excited to report. We're at $125 of MMR purchase intent and have signed on 8 beta users. With the help and support of the BYU Millers Competition Series, we'll be able to onboard these early adopters and bring a first product to market. Thank you.